everyone, and welcome to CW Trending. My name is Jeff Sloan. I'm editor-in-chief of CompositesWorld. And with me today is Andrea Bedeschi, correct?
Yes, correct.
Hi, Andrea. Andrea is general manager at Bucci Composites in Faenza, Italy. And hi, Andrea, and welcome to CW Trending.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. Nice to see you again.
It's really good to see you. It's been a long time, huh?
Yeah, it's a very long time. It's very difficult period, but hope that is past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start. Tell us a little bit about Bucci and where you're located exactly within Italy and what the history of the company is. Tell me a little bit about the kind of work that Bucci does.
Yeah, Bucci Composites started, it's located in Italy. The north of Italy is not so far from Bologna. Let me say the north of Italy, just 50 kilometers from Bologna. We started, the company was funded in at the end of the 80s. 1988 is the date. And the reason why we started is connected to the Formula One. So originally we started as a Formula One supplier because the person that was working at the Minardi team, Minardi was an old Formula One team based here in Faenza. That's still in Faenza, it's not named anymore Minardi, but is Alfa Tauri.
Yeah.
And he decided in the 80s, 1988, to start his own company to make parts for Formula One. So we started as Formula One supplier of parts for Minardi, of course, but also in Italy for Ferrari Formula One. That is the big Formula One team we have here in Italy, of course. This is the starting point for us. Originally, the name was different. Our first name was Riba Composites.
Yeah, remember that.
But yeah, that's after 20 years in 2020. So last year we changed the name to Bucci Composites because it's last year was the 20th anniversary of the acquisition of the Riba Composites by the industrial group Buchi Industries.
Okay.
So in the 2000 years, we were acquired by an industrial group based here in Faenza, and we became last year. We took the name of the group also for our company. Yeah, this was the starting point.
And it's Bucci, B-U-C-C-I, for those who are looking it up.
Yes. Is it
all right, so
the legacy name? Is that
okay? And so the legacies in Formula One parts and structures. I know you've also done a lot in automotive for the Italian automotive industry. I think you have some parts there to show us too that demonstrate.
Yeah, I can move if you don't mind. I will move the camera. I hope you do not move too much the camera just to show some part because as I told you, we start with the Formula One parts. That was the origin of the company, making parts for Formula One, very complicated part, few numbers. But later on, we decided to move also in the standard automotive sector. Let me say road cars. Also, if we are talking about super luxury cars, so the numbers are bigger compared to Formula One, but they are not such big like that in the standard automotive sector. And you can see some part here that is a hood, front hood for the Ferrari 488 Pista. That is one of the parts we did last year. And so we moved quickly from the motorsport Formula One to the automotive, the standard road cars automotive. After a while, that means after we seen that more market is coming from the road cars.
Yeah.
Actually, today the company is bigger than in the past. Of course, we started with 10, 15 people, and nowadays we are 200, 220 people working in the company. 80% of the turnover is coming from the automotive. A small portion of this turnover is coming from the Formula One. So Formula One is in our past, in our DNA, let me say.
Yep.
But in this moment, automotive for us is the main brands for the road cars. Let me say Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, Aston Martin, McLaren. These are the names. Audi. These are the names of the customers we are following in this moment.
Okay.
Not only automotive, because we decided also to diversify a little bit the business, just to keep the steps, the feet in more than one foot, if it is possible. So
Yep.
we started also to make parts for the aerospace. We are making parts for helicopters. Is not a nice period to talk about aerospace in this years, but
yeah.
the turnover coming from the aerospace is not so big. 5% of the total turnover of the company is coming from the aerospace. We would like to keep the aerospace as a potential growing sector for us, because it's important to diversify as much as possible the business. And it's also important because you can do some cross-fertilization, looking what they are doing in another business area, to carry over some ideas for the other sectors. So I told you 80% automotive, 5% aerospace, 5% marine industry. We are doing parts for the marine industry. You can split the marine industry into two parts, sailing boats and motorboats. Motorboats are more close to the automotive. Sailing boats are more specialist, like the Formula One, and it's 5% of the turnover. The other 5-10% are different business. One peculiar or strange, let me say, sector is the building and construction sector. I can show you a portion of the product that we are manufacturing for a customer. I don't know if you can see, or the machine is the orange one, the orange arm you can see on the wall.
Yeah, we can see that.
Is a concrete pumping truck. So it's a big arm, foldable arm that you have on a truck to pump the concrete on top of bridges or roofs or what else. And here you can see a portion of the arm, that one you can see here on the floor. It's very, very thick and very big. It's just a portion, because this is one section of the arm. Specifically, that one you can see on the floor is with a length of 10 meters long, 35, 40 millimeter thick, very thick, wall laminate, hollow arm. And I can say we are the only one company manufacturing this kind of equipment for an Italian, let me say Italian customer, that honestly is not anymore an Italian customer. The main company is a Chinese company.
Okay. And we did a story about that arm.
Yeah, I remember you did a story on your magazine. Nice story. So maybe you can remember that we started with several types of arms, starting from the smaller one that is 10 meters, 2 pieces, 10 meters, till a big booms of 100 meters, of several sections. But when you open all the sections, you reach 100 meters of length. 50 of this length are in carbon fiber, and 50 remain, of course, in steel due to the cost of the booms. It's a nice application, let me say. It's a very well managed from the marketing of the customer, because they, when you try to make something with carbon fiber, the biggest problem is that sometimes a lot of people try to just make it in carbon, without understanding exactly, or it seems that they would like to do something cheaper. And I think it's the wrong direction. In that case, the customer was doing a very deep marketing analysis, trying to understand which are the advantages in using the carbon fiber by doing the booms in carbon. Not just, of course, reducing the cost, because it's not the case, but to reduce the tilting moment, so the equipment that including the truck is more stable. But also there is some regulation on the possibility to go to the roads with a certain load on the wheels. And if you can reduce the load, you can have longer boom because and so you can move with this machine without the needs of any permission or less permission to go on the road, and they can get advantage and also this. There is also another specific application for this boom when you have the booms connected on the truck with the drum. You know, there is the truck with the drums with the concrete inside.
Right, the cement, the cement truck.
Yeah, and the bottom of this truck, there is also a smaller boom.
Yeah.
They can reach, let me say, 20 meters, 25 meters. But by doing in carbon fiber these booms, they can reduce the weight of the truck, and so they can load more cement in the drum. And so this is payload. Is exactly what it happened in the aircraft. So you can put more cement, so the people can get more money for each travel they did. So it's a nice story. It's a nice application.
And I see you have another structure behind you there. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I have also another automotive part here. Probably in the US is very well known, also if it is an Italian company. The name of this company is Dallara. Dallara is very famous, especially also in the US, by doing the frame, the chassis for the various formulas you have in the Indy cars and on whatever. And Dallara is doing the chassis for a lot of formulas in the US.
Okay.
But Mr. Dallara, that is a very, very good and nice guy, he said, I would like to have a road car before the end of the days. And so he decided to build a road car, also branded the Dallara. And this is the seats, the interior seats, made in carbon, visible aspects of the Dallara Stradale car. I don't know if you ever know this name of car, the Dallara Stradale. They decided to build 700 pieces of this car, and we are the main supplier of the carbon fiber parts for this car.
And how do you fabricate that part?
This one, because of the numbers, are autoclave.
Okay.
Autoclave. They are manufacturing the chassis for this car. We are doing all the rest of the car. That means bonnet, all the body panels, all the interiors, all the other parts. Those parts are manufactured by autoclave process.
Okay.
Talking about process, you know, it's important because nowadays we started, all the companies started with autoclave process.
Right.
But now it's time to change for some applications. Yeah.
So I see over your left shoulder there is the most recent part you developed for Bentley. So can you tell us about that? This is something that made the news a few weeks ago.
Yeah, this is, I think, one of the most important projects we developed is a carbon fiber wheel. You can see here the wheel. I can try to tip it closer, but I don't know if you can see exactly how it. Yeah, it's a 22-inch wheel, so it's very big. It's for American style, it's a normal wheel. For a European, it's very big. 22-inch is, I think, is the biggest carbon fiber wheel actually on the market. Will be on the market very soon. Bentley, we manufacture this this wheel for Bentley. So 5 years ago, we started the project. So it's a very long time. But if you study the story of the carbon fiber wheels, you discover that each of us that try to make the wheels, they takes 5, 6, 7 years to reach the target.
Why is that, Andrea? Because I remember you and I at JEC probably years ago talking about your work on the wheel. So why does it take so long? What's the challenge?
Yeah, the problem is in the beginning, you need to do a very strong analysis, technical analysis on the material specification, material selection, resin type, process type, and this is taking a lot of time to be done. It's something, let me say, still new product. Very structural and risky product. That means you need to be very sure of what you are doing. There are a lot of things that you need to select, and this is taking a lot of time. Another long process is the testing phase. The testing phase, we started to develop the product. There was no regulation on how to test a non-metallic wheel.
Right.
There's no regulation. No one knows how to test a non-metallic wheel. And the protocol in Europe was released just last year, at the end of the 2019, by the TÜV Institute in Germany. They, together with the OEMs, they studied a way to test a non-metallic wheel. I discovered that also in US, starting from beginning of this year, you have a protocol to test a non-metallic wheel also. So it seems the regulation is moving also to take in consideration this new type of wheel. So it's a long process.
Tell us about the materials and process used to make this wheel then.
Yeah, it's, as we started the project, the first thing you need to think about is how many wheels I would like to manufacture. Because of course you can do also wheels in autoclave. If you want to spend a lot of time in manufacturing the wheel, you can select the way to make it in an autoclave. But was not the case. So the process we selected to be used to manufacture the wheel was the high pressure RTM. The geometry is very complex. You cannot just press, because the geometry is not giving you the possibility to just press the wheel. So the other way is infusion. You need to build up the structure and then to infiltrate the resin. That seems easy, but it's not, because the geometry is very complicated. The material is a multi-axial material. We try to use the more standard materials. Is an aerospace grade material, let me say. It's a 12K material, but it's not very high performance material, because otherwise the costs will be too high.
Right.
The resin is another cannot say issue, but it's important, because one aspect that is strategic for the wheel is the temperature, because in these cars you have the carbon ceramic disc, brake disc.
Right.
Carbon ceramic brake disc can reach 900 degrees centigrade, very high temperature. It means that you have, at a distance of 2 centimeters from the interior part of the wheel, something like a piece of carbon ceramic part reaching 800, 900 degrees centigrade.
Wow.
So, and as you may know, the resin systems cannot afford more than 200, 210 degrees centigrade, something like that. Right. It's a battle, because if you need to have a resin that can be infused, or if you would like to have a resin that is very clear, you cannot reach too much TG. That means that the transition, and so the temperature is not too high. So it's a game, it's a challenge to find the right resin system. And so we made a lot of tests to select the right one. That is not enough to support the temperature inside of the wheel. So you need to protect also. So we have some layers, special material with special material to resist, and special resin system in the interior part to support temperature. And then you can add also ceramic coating to have the best performance on the wheel.
So the resin inside must be, is it a high temperature resin then?
On the last layer interiors, you have a high TG temperature resin system. Because in that case, the color of the resin is not visible too much. Otherwise, you can see that it's yellowing in an easy way. But for special cars like the Bentley, we decided also to have a ceramic coating over these layers of material with the ITG resin system. So this is just to keep the things as much safe as possible.
Right. And so tell us about, are the spokes fabricated separate from the rim, and do you put them together? Do you bond them? How do they come together? How does that work?
Yeah, that's you build up the thing separate. You have the ring, and then you have the spokes, and you assemble the spokes. The spokes are, I cannot say just bonded, but overlapped. So they have overlaps inside and on the ring.
So
just
to like this?
Connect, yes. To keep connect, then the resin is bonding the system together. Together. One specific thing of the wheel, sorry, Jeff, if I stop you a little bit, is the insert. That means you can see here there's a metallic and aluminum insert in the wheel. So the way to fix the wheel on the hub is exactly the same of the aluminum wheel. So when I fix the bolt on the wheel, I'm fixing the bolt on an aluminum part. This was coming from a customer originally, the first customer we met, that he didn't decide to go on with the project, but they said we will never use a wheel where you fix the bolt squeezing the carbon fiber. Because by doing this, you can lose the torque of the bolt. And so this is unsafe. And so this is driving us to select a different solution for the central part of the wheel. A lot of new things we learn, because we learn how to manage the high pressure RTM, we learn how to manage the preforming activity. We design it by ourselves the wheel. We had to follow all the rules for testing the wheel, including one that was not possible to be tested. One step of the testing procedure was defined on the paper, but the testing equipment was not present at the testing institute. And so we were stopped because the equipment was not there. And so, but at the end, we decided together with the technical institute to build up by ourselves the equipment and to give them the equipment to test the wheel. This is.
I have two questions for you. So this wheel has 10 spokes, and I know the number of spokes in a carbon wheel matters, or at least it's a big part of the calculation. Was this driven by the customer, or was this a decision that you made?
It's, let me say, co-engineering. It was done together. I remember specifically the meetings we had at the beginning together with the customer, with Bentley, and we were struggling on the spoke styles, because the spoke styles, especially number of spokes and also the geometry of the spoke, is something that the OEMs wants to drive, because it's the identity of the car. And so we were struggling all the day, try to understand, because we fight to have more spoke as possible. But also the geometry was important, not too thin, not too big. And so I remember a person, Bentley, that at the end he was flipping the screen of the laptop and said, that one will be the design, and it was this one.
Okay.
That's, you know, the number of spokes is important from a technical point of view. You can reduce also the number of the spokes. It depends also by the loads you have on the wheel. So this is for an SUV. You know, the Bentayga, it's a giant car.
Right.
Loads you have on the car, on the wheels, are very big. And there is a test on the wheels that is the vertical impact. The vertical impact is a test that you are doing, hitting the wheel in the center between the spokes and also on the spokes. But when you hit between the spokes, you can imagine that the wider is the window, the difficult is the way to pass the test, especially when the loads you have is very, very high. So
and we have some videos showing that test, and we'll include that with this.
Yeah, it's incredible when you see the test. Sometimes you said, "Oh, gosh, that's incredible." So that's the way we select the geometry. So the customer, and together with the customer, we discuss a little bit which was the best solution for the first wheel. Yeah.
So you and I have talked over the years about your desire to build a carbon fiber wheel that is cost competitive with high production metallic wheels. And I'm wondering, do you see that? Is that ever? I can imagine this wheel for Bentley must be expensive, relatively expensive. But is that day coming? Do you still see a point where we could develop a carbon fiber wheel that is cost competitive with metallic wheels?
If you want to know the reality, I have it. The real answer for the moment is impossible.
No, yeah.
For the moment is impossible. Of course, you have some aluminum wheel that are costing a lot.
Right.
But this one, the carbon fiber wheel, it's costing, let me say, if you are good enough, 2 times the cost of the at least if you are very, very, very good. The cost is very high for the material you are using, and also still the process. Part of the cost. Also,
there are a lot of benefits. Obviously, weight, and if you reduce weight in the wheels, you can reduce weight in other parts. I don't know if these wheels are more durable, but still at 2x, it's probably a hard bargain to drive.
Yeah, if we think of the electrification of the vehicles, so if we will not have any more, for example, brake disc,
right?
You save a lot of cost in doing the protection, the thermal protection, for example.
Right.
Because you don't have the brake, because the energy of the braking is captured by the motor, the engine. So you can save cost. You can think to save cost, but honestly, it's very difficult to think to have a wheel at the same cost of the aluminum.
Yeah.
For a long time, I think this product will stay as a niche product. We have several requests some requests coming from some customers that they would like to develop the wheel. Some are crazy because are asking for incredible prices. But you know, the numbers for the moment, you know, there is a company that is manufacturing and selling a carbon fiber wheel since 10, 15 years. And they are manufacturing and selling something like 10,000 wheel. So they are a good company. But these are the numbers for the moment.
That's where we're at.
These are the numbers. So we need to be concrete and real. For the moment, we'll stay as a niche market. We hope to enlarge the possibility to use these wheels maybe for also other application, but is for the moment something for a niche market.
Okay. Well, before we wrap up, I just wanted to get your thoughts on what the future looks like for Buchi. I know, you know, Italy had a very difficult time during the initial COVID wave. I think things are better for you now a little bit. Obviously, you've been very busy with this wheel. So how does, you know, what does the future look like for you and for Buchi?
Yeah, you know, you're right. We started in a very bad way in Italy. We had a lot of problems, but now it seems the situation is going better and better. We hope, cross the fingers, because we're waiting for September. Business-wise, last year was not so terrible for us in terms of turnover. Let me say that the automotive was affected, but the high-end automotive is a little bit less affected. There's a bit that the company stopped a little bit the operation, but if you were working on existing project, you continue to make turnover. So this was the explanation why we didn't stop or decrease too much the turnover last year. What you have as a potential risk on this year was the stop of the programs. So due to the COVID, they stopped to develop a little bit. And if you stop to develop in a sector, when you start a new project, it takes 6-12 months to do turnover. So part of the problems is still on this year, on 2021. But what we're seeing is starting from March of this year, the OEM start again to develop. So we have a lot of work to do. We got some business, and we are making a lot of quotation. I'm talking about automotive because it's the more reactive sector for the moment.
Very volatile,
And so we've seen a very shiny future in front of us. Not in this year will be transition year, but next year will be a very good year. We are also doing additional investment for us. We will have a new press that is coming at the end of the year. We invested this year in a preforming press systems because we got a big business with an important Italian customer. And for next year or 2023, we are planning to make a bigger facility to have an additional 4,000 square meter possible. So the business seems going in. If we are looking at the future, and it seems okay. Seems okay for us.
That's good to hear. Okay, Andrea. Well, it's been great to talk to you. Good to see you again. I appreciate you showing us the wheel and the other parts that Bucci's making, and I'm glad to hear that you're optimistic about the future. That's good news.
Yeah, it seems that the things are going to be better and better in the time. So for us, the future is okay. It seems okay. So we are smiling for the moment. Smiling.
All right. Well, it's good to see you, Andrea. I appreciate you being on, joining me here on CW Trending. Have a good day, and I hope to see you in person soon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dave. See you soon here in Italy, maybe. Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Ciao. Bye.